now that I'm here, I'm like, do I even need to talk about how bad the economy is? I feel like we all know. I guess we can start off with the fact that I live in the middle of nowhere and I'm unemployed. And you would think that the job market would be perhaps better in like the middle of nowhere, just simply because maybe like lower population numbers or something, but this is obviously not the case, as we've learned thus far. So I guess we're gonna write a book. So last year, before I turned 25, I sort of got it in my head that I really wanted to finish writing, I'm gonna say a book, but I have a very specific book in mind. I have several like little projects that I've worked on throughout the last couple of years, and I had this one that I really wanted to finish. Of course that did not happen. Life was just really busy, and so now I suppose my new goal is going to be to finish it before I turn 26, and as I'm thinking about that, like, I'm just hoping it doesn't turn out like last year. I'm from Louisiana, and so a ton of my writing inspiration comes from the South. Of course, I'm writing a very southern book set in Louisiana, and I just wanted to share some of the books that I feel like I get a lot of inspiration from, or, you know, kind of return to as I write. And not one of these is not just super southern exactly, but Toni Morrison, frankly, the way that she writes and her characters themselves obviously feel very, very akin to like a Southern Gothic literature. So I've got a couple of the books that I just have returned to over and over again as I write, and I'm gonna go ahead and share them with you. This is one of my favorites because I have an unnatural obsession with Huey P. Long, and Robert Penn Warren's All the King's Men is sort of a fictionalized version of the story of Huey P. Long, and it's one of the best books in my opinion, and also has a really good movie. And if you're interested in the South or Southern politics at all, this is stop number one. Then I have Imani Perry's South to America. I was on Imani Perry's website the other day, and this woman is just insanely educated. I think she has more degrees than maybe I've ever seen from someone. It's genuinely crazy. I would love to be her. And this is a gripping exploration. Well, it's nonfiction, so maybe we shouldn't call it gripping, but this is a very serious exploration of the South and sort of the intricacies of the South and the complexities of the South, and you should just read anything by Imani Perry. She also has several other books that I would love to get my hands on, and if they're anything like this, highly recommend. Also, I have John Steinbeck's East of Eden. This is not a particularly southern novel, but the way that John Steinbeck writes about California is how I aim to write about Louisiana. The voice and just general approach with which he comes at California is so beautiful and also haunting in a lot of ways, and that is exactly how I feel about California, although obviously in very different ways, because California, a lot of the haunting of it all is very much so based in the dryness and the aridness, and Louisiana is the exact opposite. So then I have The Little Friend by Donna Tartt. Donna Tartt is actually from Mississippi, which is really interesting to me. I have not read her other two novels, and they are both much more popular, The Secret History and The Goldfinch, but The Little Friend quickly became one of my favorite books, and I know that probably there aren't going to be a lot of people who like it, but if you're into Southern literature itself, then I would highly recommend this. I really loved it. First, I have Beloved by Toni Morrison here, but really all of Toni Morrison's works I feel like are a major inspiration, not only because she is such an amazing writer and her technique and just her craft is absolutely mind-blowing. But also her stories themselves, while they may not exactly be set in the South, they feel so Southern to me. And like I said before, they so like call to mind they very much so bring about a feeling of just this visceral Southern Gothic feeling that it's unmistakable. I also wanted to sort of talk about my notebook system. I've really pared down the actual notebooks that I use, but I keep my Louise Carmen on me daily, and I actually just took out a ton of little notebooks from this. And this I really don't use as often as I thought I would, but it's nice to have on me in case I have something quick that I need to jot down, or I don't really have like a full-fledged idea of what I need. It's just like a little snippet of something. So I always just keep this in my bag on me. It's so cute. It's obviously got a little wear to it now that I've had it about a year, and it's just nice to have on hand. This, however, this is my child. This is a Mikel Ruiz notebook. I was on the hunt for this one specific notebook that I had literally over a decade ago in like high school, and this was the closest that I could find to what I was looking for, even though I don't think it's exactly what I had. What I had was a lot larger. I keep literally everything under the sun in here. This is obviously not all notes for the book or like projects that I'm working on, but it is anything that basically enters my brain and needs to immediately get put on paper. Anything from, I have some pretty serious book notes in here. It's mostly that, to also like different plans, different projects, random snippets of my day, things I need to remember, companies that stick in my head, because sort of a company is a very large part of my book, and I'm doing a lot of weird research sometimes. So this is sort of just a catch-all for any and every thought that I have. And then this is a recent addition. I saw this really pretty baby blue notebook at Target the other day, and I needed some notebooks for some other stuff. And now I'm keeping sort of a very organized display of everything that I need for the book in this particular notebook. And it's going really well. I'm only writing in this in pencil, so my handwriting looks immaculate. And I'm just hopeful that I can actually manage to keep it all in here so it'll be maybe a little bit more organized. And I'm excited to get some more work done. I'm currently sitting at like a little over 5,000 words. I'm really looking to have the first draft done by my birthday, so I'm hopeful that I can manage that. Actually, you know what? Not hopeful. I am 1000% going to manage that, and if I can't, then I'm just out of luck. I don't know.